Good afternoon, everyone. It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball, doing things a little bit differently today. And I wanted to talk with you about a very sad story out of Boston, but actually provide you some backstory about what this man accomplished in his very short time on Earth and how his plea to the world helped raise over nearly $500 million for research for a disorder called ALS. So earlier today, Peter Freight's family announced that he had passed away yesterday. It's a tough day. Passed away yesterday after a long battle with ALS, which is also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. He is a man that inspired the Ice Bucket Challenge, and he was only 34 years old. Here is his photo. There's Peter. In a statement to Boston College, which is where Peter actually played college baseball, and he remained very active with his alumni as an alumni at the school. They wrote, "Today in heaven received our angel Peter Freight's, a husband to Julie, a father to Lucy, a son to John, Nancy, and a brother to Andrew and Jennifer. Pete passed away surrounded by his loving family peacefully at the age of 34 after a heroic battle with ALS. Pete was an inspiration to so many around the world who drew strength with his courage and resiliency. A natural-born leader and the ultimate teammate, Pete was a role model for all, especially young athletes, who looked up to him for his bravery and unwavering positive spirit in the face of adversity. He was a noble fighter who inspired us to use our talents and strengths in the service of others. Remarkably, Pete was never complained about his illness. Instead, he saw it as an opportunity to give hope to other patients and their families. In his lifetime, he was determined to change the trajectory of a disease that had no treatment or cure. As a result, his determination, along with his faithful supporters, Team Freight Train, he championed the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge in August of 2014. The historic movement pioneered social media fundraising and garnered donations globally that resulted in better access to ALS care, genetic discoveries, treatments, and someday a cure. He was a beacon of hope for all. On behalf of Julie, Lucy, John, Nancy, Jennifer, and Andrew, along with the extended family and a multitude of friends, we ask that you celebrate Peter and the hope that he has given to so many by following his daily affirmation. Be passionate, be genuine, be hardworking, and don't ever be afraid to be great." And then they said, as we prepare... Sorry about that, you guys. For some reason, everything went out. That was bizarre. Okay. So, Pete's funeral and mass will be held on Friday, December 13th, and the Freight's family wishes to express its sincere gratitude to the abundant love, kindness, and support we have been the recipients during the past 8 years. So, who was Peter Freight's? He actually played baseball at Boston College. He played professionally in Germany after he graduated in the amateurs. Upon his return to the United States, he was actually playing for the Lexington Blue Sox in 2011 when he got hit on the wrist by a pitch, and he noticed that it wasn't healing properly. After months of testing, he was actually diagnosed with ALS in 2012. The man, at the time, he said, "The man upstairs had a plan for me. I was not having too many issues with this mentally. This is the hand I've been dealt, and I've made my peace with it. There are people out there that don't have my support system or my advantages, and I want to help them." As the disease progressed, he eventually became paralyzed and had to use a wheelchair. He lost his ability to talk, and he had to be fed through a feeding tube. He is survived by his wife, Julie, daughter, Lucy, and his parents, John and Nancy, and siblings, Andrew and Jennifer. So what was the Ice Bucket Challenge? Basically what it was started in 2014 when a pro golfer, Chris Kennedy, challenged his wife's cousin, whose husband had ALS, to dump a bucket of ice on herself in an effort to raise awareness and money for the ALS Association. Then another patient named Peter Quinn, who is from Yonkers, New York, he picked it up and and then it started to spread. But it took hold when Peter Freitz and his family shared their video on Facebook, and by that time it exploded all over social media. So the process was simple: that you were to take a bucket of ice water, dump it over your head, and post a video on social media, and then you would challenge others to do the same to make a donation to charity. Most people did both. 17 million people uploaded videos onto Facebook, with celebrities like George Bush or Oprah, Lady Gaga, even Donald Trump doing it. And at the time, the Freitz family said the Ice Bucket Challenge represents all that's great about this country. It's about fun, friends, family, and it makes a difference to all of us living with ALS. It ended up raising over $115 million in the United States in 2014, and it funded at least 6 scientific studies, according to the ALS Association. They said that the ALS Association actually said that the money helped triple the amount of research money spent each year on ALS. Okay, let me just refresh this. And then let's see how people are responding on Twitter. People on Twitter are actually giving their condolences, and it's sweet. I'll show you some of them that I found. So Brian Wallace, he is a individual that actually suffers from ALS, and he said, pre-ice bucket, hope was a 4-letter word that no patient or doctor in the ALS fight dared to use. We were diagnosed and told to go home to die. Pete, Pat, and you changed that. In 5 years, we've gone from hopeless to hopeful. We've discovered dozens of new genes, dozens of new potential treatments, and a transition from if we find a cure to when we find a cure. Pete will not get to see that cure as the fight ends today, but when the day comes, and it will be because of him. Pete's legacy, however, is more than his fight. He was a father, son, brother, friend, and inspiration, athlete, and hero, and he was a giant in whose shoes we all will walk forever. Tomorrow we will pick up the torch that Pete carried and resume the fight. For today we remember and we mourn, we cuss, we kick, and we scream, F you, ALS, we will end you, for Pete and so many others. And then other people were sharing their condolences. This person said, I lost my father to ALS. This man has brought so much awareness to this debilitating disease. God bless this man and may he rest in peace. The Boston Herald, where he was from, shared this about him, story about him. There's Pete with his daughter. Robin Roberts from Good Morning America wrote, coming up on Tuesday morning, GMA will remember Peter Freitz, the man behind the Ice Bucket Challenge, helping raise nearly $250 million to fight ALS. Reeve Will has more on the tribute pouring in for the man who left a legacy of courage and inspiration. They said, God bless Peter and the Freitz family. This was Albert Breer, who is a correspondent for NFL Network. Guy made more of a difference than a few years than most of us will in a lifetime. The Stephen Hawking Foundation, who Stephen Hawking, also famously a famous scientist who recently passed away from ALS, said, we are saddened to hear about the death of Peter Freitz, the inspiration for the Ice Bucket Challenge, which raised over 150 million pounds for ALS, and the MND Association research. We remember his inspiration and send our condolences and respects to his families and friends. Peter Freitz, this was what people were doing at the time. And then the ALS Association said this. Our hearts go out to Freitz family and Boston community. Peter Freitz changed the trajectory of ALS forever and showed the world how to live with a fatal disease. His effort led the Ice Bucket Challenge and a significant impact on research and treatment for cures for ALS. So then I wanted to just show you what his impact did. They say that they have located 5 new genes discovered since this Ice Bucket Challenge. They have raised over 115 million. 84 million was dedicated to research. 200 plus research projects have been funded. It tripled the research budget. 9 global collaborations that have already resulted in 2 new antisense drugs targeting specific genes, 100% increase to the ALS certified treatment centers and excellence to enhance patient care, a 30% increase in funding to the support of the National ALS Registry, and $7.5 million to the ALS research program at the Department of Defense. So it's a pretty amazing thought to think that a single video can go viral and really like put people on a path to doing good and inspire people to help one another. A lot of times in a world of rare disease and chronic illness and terminal illness, it can feel as though these sorts of fundraisers don't have an impact. And in this case, with the way that this spread, it's pretty clear that his plea to help other people inspired so many people. So may Peter rest in peace. Our deepest condolences to his family. And just remember that every day there is someone fighting a fight that you might not see. And we can only do things to do our best. We can only do our best every single day to try to help others. And in this case, it's Peter, even though he died so prematurely at only 34 years old, he has left a lasting impact on the world of ALS, and hopefully will help. The Ice Bucket Challenge will help to inspire a cure for this disease. It's a deadly disease. I'm emotional because I actually had a friend that one of my childhood friends passed away from ALS a couple years ago. He was the valedictorian of of the two classes ahead of me. He was an active, he was an athlete. He was a lawyer, and then he went back and became a teacher because it wasn't even like what his passion was. He was my niece's third grade teacher, and I saw what ALS did to him in such a short period of time. So just know that this disease is really, really tragic. And so if you feel the need, donate to Peter's Foundation or donate to the American the ALS Association to help continue to fund research for this deadly disease. All right, you guys, I'll be back with something uplifting in my next stream. Bye-bye.